Thank you so much for staying with us. Right now, we are going to be deep diving into our next conversation. We're going to be looking at religion and career. It's a very important one because Nigeria is referred to as a very religious country, a very religious place where a lot of people are focused on religion. But at the same time, we still hear a lot of backlash on religion because apparently it looks like for a lot of people, religion hinders them from being effective in their workplaces. I don't know how true that is, but we're going to find out. Joining us to have this conversation this morning is none other than the amazing, very, very professional Pastor Frank. Sorry, it's so hard to describe him because he embodies a lot of things. He's a pastor, which covers well for religion. He's also a CEO, he's a software engineer, and he is the visionary for KPG Network. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you on the show one more time.
Here. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. Feels good to be here.
It feels good to have you on the show again.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're just going to kickstart. I mentioned that Nigeria is being referred to as a very religious country. How true is that? And is that a good thing?
It's very true because, I mean, the numbers don't lie. We have a lot of churches everywhere. We have, there is a strong need and pull towards divinity. So for the average Nigerian, they believe in something higher than them, you see. But the problem, or the thing about it is, that can be a good and a bad thing. It becomes a bad thing because we now tend to attribute everything to divinity. We tend to attribute everything to God. So the things that we are ordinarily meant to do, so it kind of takes us away from reality. You see that it kills creativity, it kills the drive because you feel like, okay, there is something else that can help me. You know, if I don't do, I'll do the rest and leave the rest for God. You see that concept. But it is good because in my experience, I have seen that religion is necessary for us to maintain our spirituality, which is a key aspect of the human existence. For example, if I tell you that, Didi, you need to pray for 3 hours a day. You see, that's a very religious statement. But if you take it the way I said it and you do that, you would realize that you would have a kind of spiritual fervor that you'd ordinarily, don't have.
Wouldn't have, okay.
So that's it basically for me.
All right, so now, because you were saying something about, it can be a good thing and a bad thing, depending on how. So is it as a result of wrong teaching? Is that why we have people who tend to, give everything to God, even when they are supposed to do certain things, right? They take everything they're supposed to do. Now, there is lack of creativity, there's more of laziness, you see people not taking accountability of doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Is it as a result of wrong teaching?
Absolutely, it's as a result of wrong teaching. One thing I've also noticed in my experience is that being religious makes you more attracted to the spectacular. What that means is people now want to have testimonies of things they can't explain. I didn't know how it happened. I didn't even prepare for the exam. I just, wrote it and I passed. To God be the glory. I didn't even apply for the job, but they just called me. You see all those kind of things. So those spectacular things, they become addicted to it. They just want things they cannot explain. And that's a very bad thing because God is a God of principles. The people that have succeeded with such experiences are way lower than the people that have succeeded with principles. So when there's so much teachings about, things that are spectacular, we move away from the supernatural, which is the main thing. The life of a man or someone that is religious is largely supernatural. So if I stay on a theme for, let's say I apply for a job and I read vigorously, do everything I'm meant to do, pray to God and pass. It might not be spectacular, but it's supernatural. You see the thing? Because I believe in God and I know that I might not have been able to, even know where to read or how to read. I had help reading. But I won't wait for the spectacular to say, okay, I don't want to know how it happens. Let it just happen. See the problem? So it's as a result of wrong teachings.
Okay, now that we're talking about spectacular and supernatural, you lost me. You almost lost me there. Because a lot of people will think that what you refer to as spectacular or what you refer to as spectacular now
Yes.
is actually supernatural, and what you refer to as supernatural is spectacular. Can you like give a distinct difference? Can you differentiate both of them in clear terms?
All right. Let me go a bit to the Bible. God told Adam to name the animals, and whatever he names them, that is what they will be. You see, you would want to think that Adam would have just, stayed, and anything that comes to his mind, he will call those animals. But that is not entirely true. Adam would have needed to create a system of classification for those animals. You see, so it would have been spectacular to say he would just close his eye and a name will enter his head. So it's like, yes, it's supernatural, but you see, it's spectacular because we can't explain it. I don't know if you get that concept. It just happens. We can't explain it. Yes, it is supernatural. But there are other supernatural things that are not really spectacular, but they are still supernatural. I don't know if you get. So the things we cannot explain, we tend to see those things, because of religion, we tend to see those things as supernatural. That's where the problem is. The things we cannot explain. We tend to see those things as supernatural. But it's not just the things we cannot explain that are supernatural. There are other things that we can explain,
that are supernatural.
But they are supernatural.
Oh, no, this is a
You see the
It's
thing
ready for lecture.
You see the thing now. It doesn't take away the purpose of God or the hand of God in those things. But they are supernatural. God is found there. For a student that reads and passes his exams, it is supernatural.
Wow. I think my theology is being messed with right now.
I understand.
Because a lot of people, just like you said, they tend to believe that it is when they cannot explain it. It's when they tell you that
problem.
I started with one sachet tomato. Now I have a supermarket.
Yes.
So hearing that actually working, doing the work, going through the process, and arriving at your goal is also really supernatural. It tells a lot about what we've been taught in church and Sunday schools at this point, because these things are, oh my God. Let's keep going. I don't want to digress a little bit because I have a lot of questions. But let me now ask you the next question. This is regarding religious people. But I'm saying Christians because here in the East we have a lot of Christians. So let me just focus on Christians. A lot of people say stuff like Christians are the worst people to work with. Christians are the worst people to deal with. Some people say they have inner hidden wickedness. A lot of things. And some people refer to them as being very, very, very poor when it comes to delivering. When it comes to delivering. How true is that, and why is that so, if it's true?
First of all, I'll say that is a fallacy, because if you say Christians are all of these things, we'll now ask, what is your sample space? How many Christians are there, and how many have you dealt with? You see the thing now. It's a fallacy, because before that person became a Christian, they came from a family, they came from an ethnic group. They were first human before they became Christians. So if you cannot say because maybe they belong to this tribe, that is why they are wicked. You would see that if you say because they are Christians or Christians are this and that, is a very huge blanket that you shouldn't put on Christians. You don't have enough data to say that. But having said that, I think it's also because a lot of persons hide under Christianity to be wicked, because they think that naturally there is this thing about Christians, they are unsuspecting. Like you would expect a Christian to be even someone that is a non-Christian that is wicked will expect a Christian to be in a certain way because of their religious beliefs. But there are people in church that have not fully recovered. Some people even hide, under that umbrella to do whatever they want to do. And why it looks like it's also very loud is because when somebody does something and they attach that, this person is a Christian or a pastor, you see, it actually makes a lot of news, actually makes a lot of headlines. But that is not to say, we can't even say most Christians are that way, because I have also worked with some Christians, and I can also say they are the best set of people, to work with.
sorry. You addressed the wickedness part. There's also the work ethic part that I think you need to throw light on.
Because of there hasn't been much push or education towards how a believer should be excellent. So some Christians tend to see whatever thing that maybe probably takes their time away from church as antichrist. So they feel like if this thing is taken, I shouldn't, I don't really need to be excellent or put in all my time. Some of them. So if it is not a spiritual thing, then they don't have the drive. They don't have the drive, to go the extra mile and to be the best because of the kind of exposure, they have had. There are some Christian circles that have also emphasized productivity, that have also emphasized career excellence. So if you go to those circles, you will find out that Christians that come from that tribe are excellent. But there is another tribe that has not. So when there is no emphasis on that and everything is about, spiritual fire and the Holy Ghost, such persons naturally, they can't even pass interviews, not to talk more of. I have also seen it firsthand, right? So you will notice a lack of skill in such circles. So yes, it happens.
All right. Now, in relation to exposure and also everything we've talked about, there is this saying which is popular that, when Nigerians travel outside Nigeria, they become less religion, right? Yeah. You see that somebody who you knew who was, very spiritual, praise and every other thing, but because of another kind of exposure, they are no longer as religious as they are. What is the reason for this? Does it mean that, there is a place of dependency on divinity or something that is higher than you, right? So why is it like some of these people, when they travel outside Nigeria, they are no longer dependent as they used to be on divinity?
It's simply because the kind of Christianity they practiced was all about what they would get. So when they go to an environment where all these things are available, they no longer have a need to be connected to God. Meanwhile, the journey of the Christian faith is way higher and deeper than that. So if it was always about every power from my father's side, anything that does not want me to succeed, if it's all about that, when you go to an environment where these things are available, naturally you won't see the need to pray. That is the problem. But there are people that were born there and grew up there that are also very spiritual because their Christianity is no longer based on need. They have seen a higher need to stay connected to God.
So, some people will be collecting stray bullets at this point. Okay, now let's move further a little. Let's get a little to the career path. I've experienced a situation where, in fact, let me share a bit of my experience. So, in the dating pool now, I'm a Christian, so I've had to deal with non-Christians too. I've dealt with an agnostic, I've dealt with an atheist. So I observed that there's a culture. You are not of the same faith with me, and you want us to date, or you want us to have something really, really intimate. And I'm looking at you like, we're not the same. What could have been the attraction? Why are you attracted to me when there are thousands of people with like minds, that are your kind of people, so to say? No discrimination intended, but we're just different.
Yeah.
So when I tell them that kind of thing, they say stuff like, with their answer, you can tell that they just want a Christian. They still want a believer. And it makes me think that there's an expectation, first of all.
Yeah.
The heavy expectation. Because when they start talking, they'll say, because this is what, even though sometimes they shoot themselves on the leg, because you're saying you don't want to be this thing, but you want someone that is this thing. So it's somehow contradictory. But the point is that they want somebody that is a Christian. So bringing it back to the workspace now, we've seen employers who have desire to have a Christian, as I think I've also experienced that too, who has a desire to have, we're using Christian.
Yes.
Who has a desire to have a Christian, better still a religious person as their employee.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they want a competent person. So it's like a clash. You want a religious person because perhaps you think that they are going to be sincere, they will not steal your money.
Exactly.
If they are gym like this, they tie their hair, they are preaching hair fire, they are not going to steal your money. But at the same time now, because of the notion too, that, and which I don't even know if to say it's a notion, because I've seen it happen. I've seen it where these same gym people are not able to deliver the way you want. So at the end of the day, how can an employer navigate such a situation?
See, systems naturally reward consistency and productivity than spirituality. Someone that has a business should, if I were to be an employer and I'm to choose, I would go for the person that is competent and put systems around to ensure that this person's activities, are being checked. If I want to help someone that is spiritual, I can equip you to learn, then hire you. But I wouldn't jeopardize, because if I bring you in, the business will start to spoil. All of us won't have an employment after a while.
Okay, Pastor Frank, just hold that line of thoughts. We have just been joined by our second guest who was supposed to start this segment with us, Miss Judith Okechukwu. We'll just take a short break and she'll join us right after. Don't go. You're welcome back. We are still having the conversation about balancing religion and profession. And we have just been joined by Miss Judith Okechukwu. She's the CEO, Innovative Traders Corner Media Hub. Welcome, ma.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, so before you came on set, we were talking about, of course, we've been on the subject on religion and profession. And just before you came on set, I was talking to Pastor Frank about how employers are supposed to navigate a situation where you want a religious person because of perhaps you think they're going to be sincere with you and with your business. And at the same time, you need a competent person. And for some strange reason here in Nigeria, those two don't really mix, I mean, based on observation. So how do you navigate such a situation? Have you been there?
Okay, yes, I have. And saying those two does not sit well with me.
Okay.
There are still spiritual people that are very competent. Okay. I feel like if you know the ways of God, you should understand the principle of how things work. But when it comes to like how I employ my people, even in terms of skill, somebody have asked me, you employ someone that is skilled, someone that is loyal, someone that is competent. I always go for the competent one because I feel like being competent is something you don't just learn. It has to be in you. And I feel like being religious, spiritual, skillful is something, when you come to my atmosphere, I can bring you up to speed.
Okay.
Yeah, as the CEO, and I'm employing you, you're under me. Just like in my house, if you're in my house, my person has all my friends, I'm going to church on Sunday, you have to come to my church. It's like you rule for me, I don't know for any other person, because it's my atmosphere. So if you're competent and I employ you, I believe that with time, you will know God. It's just like when they say, when you get to church, everybody in church, we're all sick. We're trying to learn, we're trying to grow, we're trying to come out. And you see some people saying, why are you dressed like this to church? And you hear men of God tell them, don't worry, let them just come. With time, the atmosphere will change. With time, you start seeing that sister, that brother, start behaving alike. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, I always go for competent people.
Okay, so first off, we are debunking the allegation that being religious and being competent do not mix. We're debunking it. It's not true.
Yes.
Okay, then secondly, we're saying that we'll go for competence before religion.
Yes.
Okay, go.
So, in the same vein, I would like to, just like she said about, debunking if there are, mindsets, what she said about, debunking where competence and spirituality come in. In as much as I understand what you're saying, a spirit of excellence is very important, especially when you know God, you know that these are his principles. But there are some persons who have, gotten to the point where they might be good at their job to a large extent, but you see that they put spiritual things above every other thing. Now, how do we change that mindset of understanding that there is time for everything, in as much as, yes, you're spiritual, but you have to know that this is time for work. You see some people, when they come to work that starts by 8, they first of all take their time to pray for a long time, where you're supposed to, there are some deliverables expected of you. Then after that, you see still them do some other things that is within the time of work, because they feel like they are competent, actually, they can deliver. At the end of the day, they deliver, but they continue to interfere their spiritual side to the time of work as well. So how do we balance it, and how do we change that mindset in the workplace?
Okay, I'm coming from an angle of someone that also puts spirituality first. Do you understand? I put God first in everything, in whatever I do. I carry God along. I seek the Holy Spirit guidance in whatever I'm doing, because I believe that whatever I'm doing today is the insight comes from Him. So how I work with people like that, you're competent, as you said, but you are trying to balance. It's just a thing of balance. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing for me. I don't know for other people. But if you're working with me, you're competent, but you're quite spiritual. I don't think there's anything saying that someone is overly spiritual. That doesn't work for me. You can't be overly spiritual. You can't be more spiritual than God Himself. So the only thing I start incorporating is balance. I start, if you're supposed to deliver something by 8, and you know that you need to take 1 hour before 8, you should come by 7. Nobody's going to disturb your praying time. But if you're good to if you can multitask while delivering, I can be in a meeting and I'm praying. I don't need to speak out loud. I don't need to mutter. I'm just declaring. I can be walking. Okay, when I was coming, sorry, I was late. That's actually bad. And I know I was going to be here. There's not going to be time to pray or time to eat. I had to do it in the car while coming. I can't come and say, okay, I need to pray first before joining. I'm already at the wrong angle. So that, as I said earlier, first of all, there's nothing as being overly spiritual. You can't be more spiritual than God Himself. And God needs us to always be in His presence. So how we do this is we try to balance it. If there's something I've learned, they'll say pray in the gap. It's actually for people that walk a lot. So you don't have time to do 4-hour stretch. You don't have time to do 1-hour stretch. You'll be tired. So break it. Like people joining, I saw something on Twitter. People are saying, Hallelujah challenge is not for 9 to 5. I don't blame them. Come back, Lagos traffic, walk traffic, wherever you are, and you're so tired. You need to sleep. You need to get 6 hours sleep. You can break it. Sometimes how I do maybe by 10 I'll sleep. I wake up by 12. Because I know that once I literally at 1:30, it'll take me more time to sleep back. Or I'll have to do some things and I'll sleep again. So I break my sleep 2 hours. I wake up again by 5 to do my thing. I still sleep 2 hours. So I'm trying to balance it. It doesn't stop me from delivering. My personal spiritual life with God is just between me and God. Every other person does not need to know that, the reason I'm incompetent, the reason I did not do this because I was, no.
Okay. Okay.
So it doesn't work that way in the world.
I think this is a very strong point now.
Absolutely.
Very, very strong.
Absolutely.
Because you have something to add to it.
She has said it all. People shouldn't perceive that my allegiance to God is my disadvantage. Once that is ever said, there is a problem. It doesn't matter how spiritual you are, there is a problem if your devotion to God becomes a disadvantage or doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Okay. So are we advocating for people keeping it to themselves?
No, we're trying to say you have to balance. You can be loud about God. I'm loud about my faith. I'm loud about my intimacy with God. But you don't see me using it as an
excuse.
Yes, as an excuse to be incompetent. God is a God of excellence.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And our God is competent.
Exactly.
He worked from Monday to Saturday, rested at the 7th day. He is a God of excellence. He shows up.
Yes.
He doesn't give excuse.
Yes.
So as a believer, you want to also replicate being excellent. So you don't have an excuse to say, you just have to ask the Holy Spirit to guide you. I want to balance this. I have some bad habits. Maybe I budge on my phone for long. Maybe I sleep a lot. Maybe I'm sluggish. I'm slow. I need the Holy Spirit to guide me. I need Him to fix me so I can have balance in my place of work. And then you see God fixing you. We try to do we don't want to do the God thing. You don't need to even be loud for people to see that God is in God's fingerprint is in you. Is with you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Once I'm excellent, I'm doing well. It's obviously the Holy Spirit is here. So I want to come and shout.
This is so powerful. I wish we had enough time, but unfortunately we have run out of time. But Pastor Frank, I learned you have an upcoming conference which is tagged the Believer and Career Conference.
Yes.
I want to assume that is one of the ways you intend to, to tweak this mind shift thing that we are working on. So what should we expect, please, in 1 minute?
All right, so first of all, we need to know that the first expression of God in the Bible was as a scientist. So there is something about God that is highly intellectual. If believers can carry that theme, we would have kings in strategic places, and that is our God.
Exactly. I think if you had more time, there's another argument where people think that because you have God or you're a believer, you cannot be in the marketplace. You understand? So it's another issue.
But we've run out
together where they feel like you cannot be excellent in a marketplace. You cannot rule in a marketplace. I feel like your spirituality should always link to maybe gospel, maybe if you just be a pastor, just work in the church, but you coming into the big space, you have to shut yourself down. So, but
since we're out of time, I think people should come. And learn more.
We have a lot to share.
There's more to share.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the date?
18th of October. That's this coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
Yes.
Venue.
Ingress Event Center, Rangers Avenue. That's Independence Layout, 10 a.m.
For everybody?
Yes, everybody.
Free?
Okay.
For all.
Free for all.
Free for all. We leave here by what time? I leave by 12, so I'll meet you up.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. That was Pastor Frank Ihesiulo, a software engineer, a pastor, and the visionary of KPG Network. And we have with us Miss Judith Okechukwu, the CEO of
Traders Corner Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. Up next on the AM Weekend Show is our social media trends. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.